The realness of boxing broken down to its core. The analysis.
I say it like it is, and I will continue to say it.
History.
I got milk, baby.
The sweetest of the science.
Boy, come on, man, stop playing.
The art of the science with the realest Justin Adams.
Let's get it on!
Welcome to the Art of the Science podcast. You're here with the realest Justin Adams. Weapon that Whataburger, you know what I'm saying? Best burger in the country. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the video debut of Aots. You know, just started as a radio show at ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Started there 4 years ago. And now it was all led to, even though we were living through some unprecedented times, but, you know, here to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the audio podcast as well on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. I'm everywhere, man. I'm out here. But for today, you know, first and foremost, Top Rank was active. They will be active tonight as well. Some matches that happened over the last couple days. Also, we have some heavyweight news coming from Fury Joshua. See where Wilder fits along in that picture. Also, Spence and Garcia. How did that come about? And then we have some quick news. And then like I said, we have a card tonight. And then I have an interview with a producer by the name of Julie Goldman, a producer of the documentary Ringside about Kenneth Sims and Destiny Butler out of the south side of Chicago. I'll have her interview towards the end. But you already know how I do it per usual, audio-wise, but video-wise too. Don't forget to hit those buttons. Let's get into it.
What? No. What is this?
I'm the realist, Justin Adams, and welcome to AOTS, Art of the Science, the realest boxing podcast out here in these internet streets.
Well.
Realist boxing news, unbiased analysis, breakdowns, and previews.
The most diabolical this side of the Mississippi.
Don't forget to follow me at JA_the realist and Art of Sci Boxing. ARTOFSCI Boxing. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Go Google that shit. See what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, man.
So on Tuesday, Top Rank had a card on ESPN. Quick little something, you know, no fans. You know, at the empty MGM Grand, they called it the bubble. You know what I'm saying? Even though one fighter did have to be scrapped from the card because of tested positive for COVID. But the main attraction here was Shakur Stevenson coming in, looking real dominant in the main event. On the undercard, you know, the typical prospects winning out. Jared Anderson with a TKO in the third round. You had Guido Vianello, who trains with Tyson Fury, had a knockout in the first round. Quintavious Cash and Calvin Metcalf. Now Metcalf, to me, gets the star, gets the star of the show. Besides those knockouts, because of that haircut, y'all should have seen this man haircut. It's like a mullet, a balding mullet. It's weird. I'm gonna put up a picture. It's gonna be I'm gonna put up a picture for you. You're gonna see. You're gonna be like, oh no. But and then the Cuban Olympian Robeisy Ramirez comes back with a win. He lost his pro debut, I think it was last year. But good to see him on the winning side of things. And Shakur Stevenson showing why he's a highly touted prospect. Knocking down his opponent multiple times. Vicious body shots. I'm talking about good body shots. All in his ribs. But, you know, it's a quick card. The only fight I think went 6 rounds was the technical decision with Quintavious Cash. That was a 6-rounder. But that one had to end early because of the cut that was on Metcalf's face, not head, but on his face. He had the eye injuries and all that. But it was cool to see boxing again, just period. I mean, even though we know this type of card was just to show off the prospect, show off the talent, still a decent card, something to see, you know. And Top Rank is trying to hit it again tonight, which is something I'll talk about a little later. But I mean, Shakur Stevenson showing why he's a highly touted man. Featherweight is where he's at right now, WBO champion. He fought at 130, so maybe he fights the winner of tonight's fight. Maybe he moves up and tries to. I know the guy that he wants to fight is Josh Warrington, which would be a hell of a fight to watch. And I think that's a fight that could potentially be in the near future for Shakur. I mean, he's able to show why, power in the hands, being able to change levels, being able to set up those punches that he was able to knock out his opponent with on Tuesday. These heavyweights, though.
I think we need to have a house meeting, y'all.
Aots, Art of the Signs, the realest boxing podcast in these internet streets.
Boxing? I want to see somebody knock that motherfucker's head off.
The realest, Justin Adams, bringing you that real boxing news, analysis, breakdowns, previews.
Hey, yo! Shut the up!
Come hold it down with the realest every Friday. Google and Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud.
I mean, really, man, we could just you up.
Fine. I guess I'll go.
So some of the biggest news coming out this week was that Fury and Joshua might have been agreed upon under basic terms, but no contracts as of yet. So Tyson Fury put out a video saying that it looks like it's been agreed upon for him and Joshua as a two-fight contract or a two-fight situation starting in 2021. So how do we get there? So first, Fury still has a trilogy fight with Wilder, which apparently Wilder does not want to step aside for. He does want that third fight. It will have to happen later on in 2020, maybe without fans. maybe without fans, most likely without fans. But that would have to happen on Fury's side, and then whatever where him it's a little easier because he just, in terms of number of people, how many mandatories he has to uphold, he just has to uphold one, and he's doing that with the WBC going against Deontay Wilder. Now Hearn himself is also Hearn himself had talked about he wanted Dylan White to fight for the WBC title as well in 2020. And whether that either being Fury or Wilder, I think that's one of those backup plans that could happen. But Dylan White definitely deserves a shot at some type of title. You know what I'm saying? He's been number one forever for the WBC. But then you also have Joshua, who's he's WBA IBF. And I still think they consider IBO. But the point is, he has multiple belts. So he has multiple mandatories he has to deal with. Now, the main mandatory that he's getting ready for now is Kubrat Pulev from Bulgaria. And that's for the IBF title. That's the IBF mandatory. And Joshua has to take care of that fight. And then from there, he has to look at his mandatory situation. You have Alexander Usyk, who has a WBO title. He probably is going to want to get in the mix somewhere, somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? And if Fury takes care of Wilder, I think it'll be easier for him to say, okay, I could take Joshua next, where Joshua has to beat Pulev, and then either they go for those fights, or they go straight for those fights, or they figure out the mandatories for Joshua. Do I think it's feasible to happen in 2021? Absolutely. I don't know about both fights. Maybe one fight. I don't know about both. But either way it goes, there's going to be some good heavyweight boxing coming out of here soon. You know what I'm saying? And with Fury and with Fury or Wilder coming up as being the next, either him or the Pulev Joshua fight, these fights are scheduled, I should say. They're lined up for these fights, and I know for Pulev it's going to be in the fall because they're supposed to fight in June, and then for Wilder and Fury they're supposedly lining up for a fall date. So the heavyweight boxing, man, still staying true to being the most entertaining, you know what I'm saying, having the most characters. Heavyweight boxing is a whole nother echelon, and hopefully they can get things going and we can get more boxing rolling, especially on the champion side. And if Fury and Joshua do meet up, I fancy as right now I will give Fury the edge in that fight. He just moves well. He's awkward. Joshua comes to fight, but I think he's just gonna walk in the traps. That's how I feel about it. everything is just in disarray, except for one thing. Errol Spence wants to come back. He doesn't want a tune-up fight, and he and Danny Garcia looks like that's according to the rumors that they're supposed to be next up in the fall, and that's who those two are going to fight each other. And Spence said wholeheartedly he doesn't want a tune-up. Now, Spence was involved in a very scary car crash last year. It was pretty rough. I mean, the car toppled. I mean, it was early this year, if I'm not mistaken. No, last year. I want to just know it was recent. I just know that. Well, point is, to go into the ring or to be rumored to be going into the ring with Danny Garcia is huge. I mean, Danny Garcia is a decent fighter. He's talented. He can hold his own, and especially against the Spence that's not been back in the ring. I mean, those mental games or the mental health of the situation really needs to be looked at. I mean, Spence going through that situation. I guess he's been able to spar. He's been able to work out. So maybe he's been able to work up those fears or work up the courage and intestinal fortitude to get over those things and get back in the ring. I mean, I'm all for it for the most part. I mean, I would hope to see Spence back in the ring, to see him back what he does best. Hopefully have a healthy mind state to do it and be able to, continue boxing even after that match. And the funny thing about it is that fight's tight because without the crash, I would go with Spence. I would love to see how Spence looks, to see what he looks like in the ring. I would love to see like some footage of it, but I had to go with Garcia just because he's healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like just because of how he's looked of recent times. I mean, Spence, I just want to see. I just want to see what he has, what he looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that crash can affect a lot of people. And trust me, if you haven't seen it, you go research it. It's there. It's there for the public to see.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Who next?
Art of the Signs with the realest.
I'm the best heavyweight champion in the world. I'm have WBC with me. I want who next?
You can follow Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. JA_the realest. Art of Sci Boxing. That's ARTOFSCI Boxing.
You're a regular from down the street. What are you doing?
I want who next?
I had to turn the light on these boys. You know what I'm saying? Got a little cloudy real quick out here in these Chicago streets. But, some quick news to go through. Maurice Hooker, the former 140-pound title holder, he is pulled out of his match with Regis Prograis. That was supposed to happen a couple months back, but obviously because of COVID, the match was postponed. Now, it was at a catchweight of 143 pounds. However, his trainer and his management were talking about the fact that it was hard for him to even try to get down to 143 because 140 was a struggle for him to make, which he has openly talked about. So to see that match be nicked, I guess it was the right thing for Hooker to do, just so it won't prolong it. It just sucks because that would have been an exciting fight to watch. Prograis, a great boxer, competitive match to Josh Taylor. I mean, it would have been a real good fight, and it sucks it has to happen because Hooker knows that he wants to move up to 147, and to see him at 147 it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure because he showed that he was strong in 140, but he said that for him it's just the weight. It's just that he might be able to carry that up to 147, and it'll be interesting to see if he can, put it up to 147. In other news, Alexander Gvozdyk, the former WBC light heavyweight champion, has actually announced his retirement at the age of 33. 33 years old, bro. 17-1, 14 knockouts. Only loss came to Beterbiev, which was a competitive fight till about the 10th. When Beterbiev just showed supreme conditioning. That's just what it was, just the will to win. But apparently this is a decision that Gvozdyk wanted to make. He's going into business opportunities, is what was quoted. Like, I don't know what business opportunities, just business. But the common thread amongst all his people that were associated with him, Bob Arum, his manager, they all said that he wanted to give 100% or he was have to go and take care of his business opportunities. So he can't give 100% to boxing. He might as well not be in it at all, which makes sense. But he was a great fighter, man. Beat Stevenson for the, he beat him for the WBC title in 2018, and then lost to Berta Beef, who's moving up in the ranks. So, happy trails to him. I wish I could tell you who Canelo's opponent was going to be. I don't know it. I can't tell you. It was supposed to be Billy Joe Saunders. It's supposed to be Billy Joe Saunders. And then it was supposed to be, now they're talking about it's supposed to be Darrell, one of the Darrell brothers. Then it's supposed to be Murata. It's a toss-up. And there's so many different opponents he can choose from just because he's a champion, 3 weight classes? Super middle, and light heavy. Yeah, he has titles in all 3 of those, so pick of the litter for him. My prediction was wrong, and it was to actually go through with the Billy Joe Saunders, but it looks like he's not the opponent. So I would love for him to fight Charlo. I just don't see him going back down to 160. That's in my mind. I just feel like it's easier to stay pat or go up than to go back down from 175 to 160, and then to come in, over, heavy on fight night. Like, come on, man, it's ridiculous. I think he'll stay in the 168, 175 and see what he can get from there, and hopefully a credible opponent is produced. I thought Billy Joe Saunders was decent. Some people didn't. I feel like that Billy Joe is one of the more talented super middleweights, and it will be an intriguing fight to see. But as of news right now, all I know is they're looking for an opponent for September, and he is open. Canelo's open to fight with no fans, knowing that no one's in the arena. I really want to ask these fighters, how does that feel? What? There's no one to be to egg you on. Usually when you fight in the ring, you land a good shot. People's like, oh, ooh. You're not hearing any of that unless it's from a trainer or one of the media people. So there's some actual boxing to catch tonight, 7. Top rank card, ESPN. Headlined by Jesse Magdaleno, the former champion. See how he does with this move up in class to 130. I mean, like I said, it's one of the cards to showcase some talent, just to show what they can put out there. Might not be the best of fights, but it's fights. So I'm gonna watch it. And before I scoot on later tonight, don't forget, catch me later on tonight on Students of the Game Facebook Live 7:30. We do that every Thursday. Like I said, y'all see me back here next Friday. Another video coming at y'all. You know what I'm saying? But I like to shout out to Julie Goldman, the producer of Ringside. Very good documentary. I was able to show it to a couple of guys I work with at All Students of the Game, and one of my other guys, and they were able to watch it. And I know one of my guys was very, had very positive reviews on it. She's worked with Steve James, the guy behind Hoop Dreams. She's a very accomplished woman. I wanted to get her perspective on the Ringside documentary. So hopefully you enjoyed the interview. Like I said, for me, I'll be back here next Friday. You know what I'm saying? I'm usually in the evenings chilling. You know what I'm saying? Just something you can catch before you, I will say go out and hit these streets, but you ain't hitting these streets. Hey, super COVID. You know what I'm saying? And just stay true to your own. You know what I'm saying? Just keep your head on the swivel. Stay real, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just be aware of what's going on around you. You know what I'm saying? And keep moving forward, keep progressing. See y'all next Friday.
Brought my mom out to Pennsylvania because she's almost 90. She lives in Manhattan in a pretty big building with a lot of old people. So it felt like ground zero of ground zero of ground zero. And
exactly.
Yeah, my brother just so happened to be stuck out west, so we've been in his house. So it's been very strange to not be in our usual environment. But yeah, it's been, I kind of think an incredible time. I'm kind of hopeful, which is really scary to be hopeful. So, how are you feeling during these times?
Oh, it's
I don't know. It's just a lot of time, a lot of different emotions. You know, a lot of emotions. It's like for me, it's the same broken record. It's the same, you know, cycle. And in order to break it, we have to put our energy towards it. And whether it's being you know, whether it be talk about it on podcasts or being able to have those conversations with the police and the community, things of that nature. Because I'm based here in Southside Chicago. I'm literally about 2 blocks north of where y'all film most of Ringside. So yeah. So, you know, but it's good to see a lot of the younger, you know, at least younger than me, out here, you know, with their voices, letting them be heard. But I'm right behind them 100%. I just wish we weren't destroying our own communities, though. That's the only thing I'm hating.
I just feel like there's hope, especially because like students are so much of, and high school students and young kids are like so much a part that, you know, every time there's any kind of uprising, they are pushing it forward in a way that's just inspiring. So
exactly.
I'm hopeful. I hate to say it. It scares me to say hopeful during the Trump administration, but
I understand.
Together naturally.
Exactly. But optimism, that's the way that we have to be optimistic about these times and be positive, use our energy productively, and hopefully, you know, we see progress in the near future.
Agreed.
Oh man. So here, well, first things first. Tell me more about the journey to Model Pictures. You founded it in 2009. Now you guys have been able to produce real great work. I've seen a few of your work. I just watched, I think it's called Abacus, right?
Yeah, Abacus. It's Steve James in Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's what I was saying. Like me looking into it, and because first, you know, obviously you have to do your research. That's a great interviewer. You have to do your research. So first, after I saw Rings, I was like, man, let me see what else she's been a part of. So I started looking through, and I'm like, wait, I'm gonna watch this. But you have a slew. Like it's just a.
We have a few. Yeah, we've been really lucky to do that. But Abacus is actually with Steve James, who's the director of Hoop Dreams.
Hoop Dreams, right.
And Mark Mitten, who produced it and came up with the idea, who also lives in Chicago. So, but since they were shooting in New York, we kind of came together. We've known each other forever, and so awesome. Happy to work with them. And it was great. I mean, the family is amazing. The Sung family is just so amazing. Who we filmed and working with Steve and Mark, and then the film just really did well. It got nominated for an Oscar, which was. Really
I saw that
because Steve, you know, did The Interrupters, and Steve did Hoop Juice. He did all these films, and it's like he was so long overdue. So that made me super happy. Yeah.
I could definitely understand that.
Oh, wait, I have a connection more. The footage from the Olympic bid, the Chicago Olympic bid.
Yes.
That's in the film. Destiny's Really Young.
Yeah.
Steve James directed that, and Mark Mitten produced it. So it's
really. They're there anyway.
The footage, exactly, and then he became an executive producer of this film. So it's like the small world and full circle of it all.
And it's good to see that you get to see the cultivation of those connections you built from when you were, you know, before model was even a thing. It was just you trying to have your career going. How did you get into documentaries? Were documentaries always your thing, or was it something else?
Originally, I thought I would do fiction, and then I got a job for a company where I was selling documentaries, this really good documentaries from this company, to like high schools and colleges and libraries, and I just started to watch a lot of documentaries as I was in that process, and I fell in love with it, and that was awesome. So I've kind of gone a little bit like, oh, which way should, but every time it's back to documentaries. I love the real stories.
Exactly. It's always good to learn something, at least watch something where you're learning, you know, you're learning something new. And looking at what you've done or what you've been a part of, it's such a wide, it's just a wide spectrum of things. The total, you know, different types of environments, different scenarios. And to be a part of all that, how does Ringside, the documentary, compare to all those?
Sure. I mean, it's interesting because you know, what's great is working on all different kinds of subjects and we work with people around the world, we film around the world, we, you know, go into deep dive stories, and then some things that we get done fairly quickly. But, you know, it's great because it stays really fresh because you're always learning about something and like, you know, experiencing a new world. And actually worked on a film called Orthodox Stance years ago about a boxer named Dmitry Salita. who's now I
Yes.
think a promoter and stuff.
Yes.
Actually,
His son is.
he fights. He was there, and I was like, yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. And so I knew, a little bit, but that was a kind of a shallow dive, I would say. And then what happened is the producer who was on this film, so background to this is that in 2009, Andre Horman, the director, and Tom Bergman, the cinematographer, came to Chicago. They're from Germany. They had read this book, and they were really interested in the idea of boxing in Chicago, in that community. And they kind of, made their way around, and then found Kenny and found Destiny, and just, completely connected. And they were like, oh, these guys are amazing. And so they kept coming back and coming back and coming back. But they and they had a producer. They did a short, which did very well. And then they had a producer in Germany, Ingmar Trost. And Ingmar and I have mutual friends. So when he came to New York, he came and just said, well, we have a few projects, and this is one of them. And he showed us the short, and we were like, we're in. We're hooked. This, we could just tell there's so much heart in the story, and these guys are so, they're just giving it over on camera in a way that's they forget about the camera. They're completely themselves, and we were fascinated. And also, I didn't know that much about boxing, and so it was an interesting way in, because I've gone to a lot, from one boxing match with the other film to a lot with this film.
Exactly. And that actually takes me to my next question, because I was going to ask, how did Kenny and Destiny how were they, the center, what I'm saying, the characters that y'all wanted to go with, and a lot of boxing, for you, that's a lot of boxing.
Yeah. And really what it is what fascinated Andre, and what we also really responded to, is the idea of these two young men and their fathers, because they have these incredibly close and complicated relationships with their dads, but their dads are with them, training them, behind them, supporting them. And that dynamic was so interesting, because it's such a male world overall.
Exactly.
A lot of female boxers now, and people making great documentaries about female boxers, but
right.
In this case, in this world, it really was. And it's these guys are these, very serious, very dedicated mentors, not only to their own kids, but the idea of kind of passing it on from, as you see, as Kenny grows up, he also becomes a mentor in the neighborhood. So there was something that felt really a much more deeper connection, because it's the family and the bond that both happen to have, and both are seniors and juniors. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So now with this, this is a project apparently this is where I think the span of 9 years. Is this one of the longer projects, the longest? Oh, that's longest for you?
No. For us, it was 6.5. Those guys started before we got involved. They brought it, they were we want an American producer, because we're going to be really shooting here. So they brought it to us, and Chris, my partner Chris, and Carolyn, Chris Clemens and Carolyn Hepburn.
Yeah.
We met, the three of us met, and we saw the footage, and we were like, okay, now let's get on board. And that was going on 7 years ago. So yes, that is a long time for us. I mean, it's I would say the longest actually that we've done. But there's some that are trying to catch up. So we'll see.
Yeah, because I was saying, man, for one, that's just a lot of footage, just off top, just a lot. But was that the most time you had spent in Chicago, or was there other times that you've been in Chicago, or was this a pivotal time for you?
Chicago before this film. Can you believe it? And I grew up in New York. I mean, New York
you're right.
Yeah, I'm just never been there. It's kind of crazy. So, some people never been to New York, and some people never been to.
I've never been to New York. I'm right there with you.
Right. Okay, so there you go. So I don't feel so guilty. But I really feel in love with Chicago. It's, it's a place I could see living. Actually, it really has.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what was one of
the Chicago Film Festival last year?
Exactly.
It was hard to leave, and it happened to be. We've had some really good weather situations in Chicago. I will say.
Awesome.
Usually, yeah.
Oh no, I mean right now the weather's decent. I mean, you don't have your mask on and all this good stuff. But it's beautiful. Well, it's beautiful now. It's just about to start raining soon. But Yeah, being in Chicago, I moved out here in 2014. I moved out here in 2014. So I'm from Houston. I'm originally from Houston. Moved out here to Chicago. And oh yeah, you say you never been?
No, I've been to Houston. I've been
Oh,
to Austin. There's with South by Southwest.
South by Southwest.
And so we always try to I'd fly somewhere else. Marissa Erickson, who worked on the film, is from Texas. So
awesome. That's what's up. Now, I know there were certain events, like for me, the way I'm thinking about it is, okay, we're following these two men, or two men with their sons. Yeah. And you have to take the good with the bad. Obviously, you're here to tell a story. But I'm pretty sure there are parts that hit home for everyone. How did you yourself handle those events? Or when do you handle them in most documentary films?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many highs and lows, that's really, if you're going to go on that kind of a years and years long journey with people, you're going to experience what the moments that are the lowest and the moments that are incredibly triumphant. So, we were with Kenny when he had his professional debut. We were, which was this, I think, incredible experience. And then, then he lost his best friend.
Right.
Violence. And, so you have these incredible extremes of experience. There's also a lot of time where they're just training and, not eating and then eating a lot. And then, it's their kind of routine of life. But, yeah. And certainly with Destiny, obviously when Destiny was first, going to prison, and we were, in touch a lot with his lawyer, and hoping that there would be alternatives, and there was boot camp, and then there was not boot camp, and then we just kept rolling, and but we knew he was going to get out, and he was so determined. Although I will say he kind of stunned us, because to get out and do what he did in such a short amount of time. I mean, you see when he, I don't want to give too much away, but when he gets out, kind of what's going on, which you don't think he's going to be able to pull it together and go pro, or, and then kind of the next moment at the Golden Gloves, which was not that many months later,
right.
He was really determined. And just to see that is, I mean, these guys are so great and so inspiring. And also how his father and his family, when he was away, how they were working so hard to try to figure out, how do we help getting him out? How do we, spending every last penny on lawyers, and, trying to really, be there completely for him. Like we would all want our families to be, so that also was really moving to me. I was like, wow, I would love to know that I had that kind of backup too.
Understand. So I was able to watch it. And just a little piece. I just have a question, a little piece.
Yeah.
They didn't let him finish the 10 days? That was crazy.
What?
They didn't let him finish the days, didn't they, with Destiny in the boot camp? Yeah,
no. It was crazy. I mean, it was so we thought it was he was getting out, and then we got a letter saying graduation's not going to happen then. He's not going to graduate then. It was this kind of progression. Then suddenly it was because we were always looking stuff up on the website.
Oh yeah.
And it's no, he's going back he went to, I think, Shawnee from there. So yeah, so it was really terrible. I mean, that was awful. That was the lowest, one of the lowest low during his story. That was
exactly. And for me, and me watching that, I was like, oh, what? He's doing everything. Because apparently, obviously you set it up. You showed what he's doing, what he is having to go through to make this happen. And he had already stated this is what they've set up against me. This is what I have to do, right? Yeah. So I was rooting for him. Y'all had a rooting in me. I wanted him to get it out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
and, and he was a decent sized kid at that age. Kenny is a little, shorter, smaller guy, but the Destiny was kind of a monster coming up.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's I think you can see what the treatment is and certainly, kind of the, I don't know what you'd say, but at the boot camp, the militaristic and oppressive atmosphere there is.
Oh yeah, definitely. But definitely do as I say, and I say only, and it just Oh yeah, it was crazy because I'm like, man, he's actually doing his best to make it through, you know.
Yeah.
But comparing those timelines, this is 9 years. Obviously, you have other projects going on. You have other things going. And I was reading something about you, and you were saying that you always like to have multiple projects going on.
Yeah.
You know, how is that going for you now?
Oh, that's a good question. I just want to say one thing, which is that also like with The Sims, watching The Sims family, like I just was thinking about this, like his Ed Burns, his uncle, also was like incredible and like was always, you know, here's the next fight, like because you don't know what's going to happen, and we have to make all these arrangements and sometimes get the guys in from Germany if they're not here. And
oh wow.
And then Andre moved to the U.S. for years, and anyway, so but like. Just we would go to all these Kenny's fights, and then when he signed with Gary Shaw, we were there for that, and then all of that craziness. And so and with his dad, and his dad was just like, you know, he was just hard as nails sometimes, you know, like, and then when you could get him to laugh or smile or like, you know, like kind of loosen up in an interview, it was like
he's not doing it.
Yeah,
he's not doing it.
And he was really tired, you know. But yeah, I mean, right now it's like about getting this film out into the world. We have another couple other films that we're trying to, you know, get launched.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've been able to do. We have a film that we're doing that's it's archive mostly.
Okay.
Musical artist and that we've been able to do because you can still edit and you can still. We figured out a lot of what we could do remotely. And
okay.
Just like the end of this month is going to be the first time we're going to try to do a shoot, and we'll see how that goes. For us, a shoot is not like any kind of a fiction film because it can be, you know, a cinematographer, a sound person, and the director. Period.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, it could also just be a cinematographer doing sound with a Zoom setup for the director to talk like this. You know, like so to do an interview. So. We're trying to be kind of agile in how we deal with this, and we're looking at guidelines from everybody to see about, you know, safety. But it's scary, you know. It's scary to put people, you know, out there.
Oh yeah, it's funny because the word that comes to my mind is fluid, right? Because with this going, you have to be able to what can I do with what's around me, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm right there, and I can understand that because now you have, you know, you still want these projects as well. You still want, you know, you still have modal pictures to still, you still have a business at the end of the day.
We have people who, you know, we have projects with people, and we have, you know, our team, and our biggest, when this hit, we were like, we have to keep people employed. We have to figure out a way that we have a project with HBO, we have a project with Netflix, you know, we have enough that we know that we're going to have money coming in to pay people for these next few months because we, you know, we felt very responsible from that day, and it was a lot of maneuvering to try to hold on. We're still doing that.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Who next?
Art of the Signs with the realest.
I'm the best heavyweight champion in the world. I'm have WBC with me. I want who next?
You can follow Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. JA_the realest. Art of Sci Boxing. That's ARTOFSCI Boxing.
You're a regular from down the street. What are you doing?
I want who next?
Oh yeah, I understand. So I'm gonna go back to ringside for just a second. So I saw that when I saw it because it would be released, you know, on Showtime. I saw that it won at the Chicago Film Festival that you were just talking about before. But what was shown in Berlin? What was shown in Berlin was just a short, or was the whole?
No. It was this film. It was the world premiere. Was in the Berlin Film Festival, which is an incredible film festival.
Really?
It's fantastic. Yeah, it really is. It was like 1,200 seats. This giant theater. It was incredible and full. And people gave the longest standing ovation. And the guys were up and doing the Q&A. It was like a dream. It really was. It was
awesome.
Amazing. And that was the first audience that we ever showed. And the guys came, which was like pretty impressive. Yeah.
Wow, that's what's up.
Kenny Jr. and Destiny Jr., not the
fathers didn't want to make it.
They came we had it in Chicago, the Chicago Film Festival.
Oh, they had to be there for that one.
October, and everybody came. All of their friends, all of their relatives, everybody came, and that was really fun.
That was the big old party for them. That was their coming out party.
Yeah, it was great. So those were two really special screenings. And then Andre went to Tehran, and it won like the best documentary award in Tehran.
Wow.
Iran, like they loved it. I was like, we're huge in Iran.
Yes. It's like, yes, where else can I go? No, but that's awesome. That's great to hear. Now, okay, so now you had all this boxing in front of you, all this boxing you've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever catch it on TV? Is there something you deal with? Or that was just like, okay, that's enough boxing for me, was steering ringside?
I liked going to it live in person. I find that like really, it's very exhilarating. Like, the
atmosphere is buzzing.
Yeah, it is. And I definitely have watched it more also because I know a few more boxers from it. Like I know who that, I remember they were in like the first card or whatever, like for one of these matches. So I'll be familiar. And if I see their name, I'll check that out. I would, and now Showbox. So like, I have Showtime, obviously. And we had to work with everybody because they were like, sometimes it was ESPN and sometimes it was HBO and sometimes it was Showtime. So we got to know all the sports people from the channels, trying to like finagle our way into the matches to shoot.
Right. That's awesome. Now going into that, you picked. So how did you? So when you got the short, you saw the short, you was like, you know what, this is what I want. Have you yourself thought of like something you yourself wants to do? Like if there's a goal on your list or there's a particular film that you will want to do that's coming on now or in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. What I like to do is really like find a way to mix it up. So, we're doing something now on the virus.
Oh, here we go.
We're doing something on opioids, but a very crazy story about kind of where it all started. We're doing something on an amazing disco singer I can't mention. I'm not allowed to, but
understand.
Really but somebody who's like a diva of the divas. And I think the fact that like I'm to do things that are, so I mean like so all over the map is what I really love to do. But that's interesting. I used to think like, oh, there's that film that I'll always, I haven't gotten to do it, but
right.
I've been really lucky and I've been able to do, these films that just stay really special. Like it's also the people when you're making films with the people that you're making them about. So, there's the Sims and the Butlers, that those families, are incredibly generous and special to me. The songs from Abacus, the Suskines from Life Animated. There's like all of these people that kind of stay, Lucy McBath from 5 Minutes. So so there's people that like, you just feel so lucky to have encountered them in that way and have them like trust you and let you like you in and let you and know that you're gonna do right by them. And that to me is more than like a specific story. It's like that ability to be able to do that. I mean, we did film at the final year of the Obama administration.
I saw that last year. I saw that, and I was like,
so
and I look at all the years of when these items, like Julie, you are consistent. You are consistent. Yeah, consistent good projects. Now I know that I saw that some like you wanted to start this to help filmmakers, and one of your things was like you didn't really want to mess with first timers, but you ended up getting with those guys, getting with those people. But what has been the mission for Motto? What was your purpose of having that company built, and how do you see it helping people now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really to get these stories out as far and wide as possible. Like, there's something in the different films. Not every film is going to be for everybody, but there's something that's going to like touch someone, move somebody, make somebody want to like activate somebody. There's all of these different possibilities with what we do. And as we build this, collection of films, I want something that that there's like and we're so incredibly lucky and so incredibly proud of being able to, make these stories available, one after the other. Of like, I feel, each one has a very special place. Some like,
Oh yeah.
This one is like the longest and the kind of like it's not going to be able to let go of this film ever.
Now, I beg to ask, but do you still keep in touch with Destiny and The Sims? You still?
Yeah.
Now, oh yeah, she's like, don't play me. I see these.
Yeah, no. I text the guys and like, I text with with Kenny's mom, and sometimes I'll call the dads or Ed.
Well, no, I saw that Destiny had signed with Adrian Broner's management team, and I was like, wow, because Adrian's going through his things, his transgressions and whatnot with. I think he wanted to retire, go back to rapping, retire, do something else. But he has a decent stable of boxers, and to see Destiny come up on that, how does it feel to actually see more progression, especially from Destiny?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I feel like I've been there for the whole progression with Kenny, and
right.
Destiny, it's kind of happening. Like he had this moment, but now it's all happening kind of like afterward, and so it's
right.
And I'm always like, when's the next fight? I'm gonna be, lighting candles, and
I'm right there.
Yeah, I mean, if we could travel, we would go. I know, he's. I think it's the 10th fight, and then there's more television opportunities. So the 10th win, sorry, and so yeah, I mean, we're literally in their corners. So
good. That's what's up.
Not anymore, literally, but yeah, just. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you there. If there's Julie Goldman over there right next to Destiny. You're there, and that's good. No, that's good to hear, because that time was able to, you were able to build those connections, and those are strong connections that you will always have.
Yes, I mean, like it or not, on their side, I'm always going to be staying in touch. They're going to be like, oh, here she comes again. Yeah.
What are the projects that she have up her sleeve? How much more footage?
Well, I think they were also like, this will never happen. Like, it took so long. I think they were like, yeah, sure, you're gonna.
Like, why are you really here? Why do you want these cameras? But do you follow any other sports? Is sports your thing at all, or?
I grew up with my dad was a minor league baseball player, and so my dad, I have the father and two much older brothers, and they were all very focused on sports and playing sports. But also there was always sports, everything except for football, I would say.
Oh, really?
That was, every single thing you can imagine. Hockey, even, like for some reason football never happened, but basically baseball and basketball were very, very big when I grew up. So I know it really well. I don't then tend to, like, I'm more of like, I'll watch the playoffs kind of person.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the best time to watch. Best time. So, as a filmmaker, what is your? I know this is kind of putting you on your spot. What is your favorite film? Like, what is your favorite film of all time? What can Julie say? This is my favorite. Like, this is what sentimentally. You know what I'm saying?
And this doesn't sound really crazy. There's this film called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly that I love. It's a beautiful film. It was like kind of, they're like those like perfect films. That was a perfect film. I love the documentary Man on Wire.
Really?
Yeah, that's so good.
So good.
It's so good. Yeah, I'm trying to think, because there's also, I mean, I love Parasite, but that, I don't know if that's going to hold more than, this year. So yeah, I mean, I there's like the films that, I mean, it's hard. I've seen a lot of movies. I watch
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, your mind is full of just all these different things. I mean, different. I mean, all types. What motivates you? Me?
Yeah.
My favorite movie is called Paid in Full.
It's called which?
Paid in Full.
Oh yeah.
Paid in Full and Harlem Nights. Those are my top two.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, I love them. I love those movies. So seeing all these movies, this is all you've known. This Julie Goldman's life is movies. What else keeps you? What else do you enjoy? What else do you do?
Yeah, I have a very.
Exactly. It's like.
Yeah, I mean, we have like pretty good, group of people, and the main thing is like, as much as we do these serious films, we have a lot of laughs. I mean, it's kind of like not worth it if you're not having a good time. So
right.
I travel a lot because I go to festivals and pitching and production all around the world. So I do love to travel. That's been great. I don't know if that's happening again anytime soon. So that's
right.
And I kind of love the culture, living in the city, of being able to go, and also doesn't exist anymore for now, but like being able to go, like we live in Brooklyn, and there's this concert series in the summer that we'll go to like every weekend and go see live music and live performance. And I love to do that. And yeah, I mean, it's all those things are stripped away this year.
Right.
I also like to go, there's a place in Massachusetts that I like to go, and I like to be on the beach, and I like to swim.
Oh, awesome.
So those are like some things that
and it's like those things are so far away right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I have great family that I'd love to hang out with, and really lucky to have some like lifelong friends too. So
awesome. So before I let you go and go enjoy life, 2020.
That's left there, yeah.
So no, my biggest thing is just 2020. We want to erase 2020. Like 2020 is that year, but it's only
the things that come out of it.
Right, exactly. So that would be my question. We're halfway through. What would you like to have accomplished for 2020?
I would like to play any small part in getting Donald Trump out of office. That was
immediately.
I feel like that's really important. And actually, I mean, it's getting this film to a really wide audience is incredibly important to me. Like getting it out there, having people see it, having people meet the Sims and the Butlers, and the team. And I mean, we have an editor on. You never have an editor on for this long. In the US, editors are like super crazy expensive, and they never do anything for free. And this editor, like everybody worked for free on this film for all these years. I mean, that's the other thing. It was a real labor of love. Like no one was getting paid for and this is 9 years, and or for us, it was like 6.5. So Vincent, the editor, incredible. So yeah, I mean, it's really these guys it's really Andre, Vincent, Tom, who devoted all this time, and the Sims and the Butlers for giving us this time. And the whole team has been, it's become a family, which is pretty great. So getting that film out there, and then the other films that we have that are coming out. We have a film about Roy Cohn, who was Trump's mentor.
Oh wow!
HBO a week from like on the 19th. That's coming on.
I see you have the Apollo running right now, right? On HBO.
Yeah, Apollo's on HBO, which is great. Apollo, final year, and 3.5 minutes, 10 bullets are all on HBO on demand. And
the 3.5 minutes, 10 bullets. That sounds familiar. Wait, that's about was that at gas station, correct?
Yeah, Jordan Davis and
right.
That's who's like his mom is Lucy McBath now. So
Lucy McBath. Right. That's what I was like. I knew we just talked about it earlier. Jesus.
Yeah, so those are all like you can watch those. We have Murder in the Bayou, which is an incredible series that we did. That's on Showtime. That's on demand. So there's a lot of stuff that we have that's out there. And I just saw that Life Animated is on Hulu. It just popped up. I was like, oh, it's on Hulu now. That's cool.
I was gonna say, are these things usually told to you, or you're like, oh, here it is?
It's been licensed for so long with whoever it is, like Amazon or whatever. And so I don't get that turnover so easily. It takes a while to figure out that, oh yeah, that's it. It's
here it is.
Yeah, I mean, this year accomplishments would be just like having these films seen. We had a film called The Mole Agent and 1,000 Cuts that were at Sundance, and we want to those are going to come out this year. So it's like, you know, Socks on Fire, we have a film that won the grand jury prize at Tribeca, and nobody's seen it yet because it hasn't been seen, just the jury. So it's been a
Wow.
crazy, 2020 is really crazy. But yeah, we have accomplishments would be getting those out. It would be getting back to our office, keeping everybody employed, moving forward, getting past this, you know, getting treatment or vaccination or whatever it's going to take so that we don't have to keep going this way.
Yeah, because I'm ready to separate my house from my work. You get what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah,
that's why we have a home, right? That's why we have a home.
No, and I know, and I'm not even like, you know, I'm used to being in, you know, in Brooklyn and we have our office there. It's just sitting there empty. It's like, oh yeah.
Can't do it. Can't do it. So here, well, Julie, I appreciate your time. I appreciate it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it again and again. A lot of my so for Ringside, so two of my I have a producer and a co-host of another show that we do, and we watched it. And the two guys, one of them, he was like, "Man, this is amazing. This has me, you know," because some of those guys that are in those shots, we kind of know, like Sean Simpson, Salamed, like seeing those guys, Montel Griffith, like seeing all those guys, you know, it's like, oh, okay, you know, it passed verification for it being a real serial. It's one of those things. It's one of those things.
We passed the test. I love it. Did they like it too?
No, they really did. Because like, I think for a lot of us, we focused, and I think this is just us as being Black men. We focus on the fathers more than we did on the sons. Yeah. And just because, for one, the sons are learning, right? Like, as a kid, you are learning. And the way that you guys have the time range on it, I mean, you're going right with peak learning ages, you know?
Yeah, right.
So now you have one son who's following Hard as Nails by the book, who's actually being able to see this, while another kid is actually going through a whole nother dynamic path.
Yeah.
And for us, like, Destiny Butler scene to me was my favorite because I got to see him raw. You know, I got to see him go from, man, my son's one of the best, to you know, like, hey, man, you know, you're doing the most right now, you know, the paraphrase. I love how y'all let that whole rant go. That was awesome. Whoever idea that was, they need a raise or a pat on the back, some dum-dums on the desk, whatever. But that scene was my favorite because he is going off, and then it's like, I'm the perfect role model. And it was like,
it's so great.
Well, I mean, I can't hate him for it. I mean, he's been through one thing else. That was one of my favorites. That was my favorite scene. And just to let him go off like that, I'm telling you, like, like I said, Julie, your projects, the projects that I've seen are great. I've nothing but great things to say about them, you know?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love that scene. That scene always just like, it's so great. It always like the audience, when you see it with like a live audience and everything also, it's like people like pause for a second and then they just burst out laughing. It's great.
Right, because it's like, you could definitely relate to it. It's like, he's giving it, like, he's genuinely upset. You get to see the spectrum of emotions of a human being, you know, from him super upset. I mean, because he was livid, and then it turned into this whole thing, and then he ends up like, I'm the perfect role model. It's like, this is great, you know. And no, this was great work. I mean, the cinematographer, I think he did well. The editors.
Yeah.
The editors did well. I think the scenes were shot well, especially for it to be 9 years worth of footage. I mean, the story was continuous.
All kinds of formats and all kinds of, I mean, it's
right.
It's pretty crazy.
That's what I'm saying, because that's 9 years. A lot of things have changed, you know?
Yes, exactly. And like the sticking with it. And also, I mean, that's the thing. Like Destiny, he's such, you know, he's a great father. I mean, he's just like, you know, just that scene, like he's so mad, you know, and he's
so mad,
frustrated, and I mean, but in the end, you know, and he's right, like maybe not in those ways, but like in so many ways, like that's, you know, the fact that, you know, I would want a father to stick there and stay with me and
right.
pissed at me, but like, you know, hold on and
he cares.
Hold on, you know,
exactly, because you see that, and you get to see it be in display. You get to see Destiny go through the, oh man, this is my son, I'm chastised. And then now to see, in the movie where he, gets out and actually gets back into the ring, it's like,
yeah.
And I'm talking about, you could tell he was the happiest fan too, because he was all around that arena.
He couldn't sit still. It was great. He just couldn't. He couldn't stay in his seat.
It was funny. I felt like Tom and the camera crew was like, hey, just keep your cameras on scene. Just keep your cameras on scene. Don't even worry about the match. You can hear the crowd on the match. Just watch here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. These guys are amazing. They're just like always in the right place. Like how they figure that out when there's so much going on with the cameras. Yeah.
Man, awesome. So Showtime is going to debut it June 12th.
Yes.
And
Friday at 7:30 Central. 8:30
yes.
Eastern.
And then it precedes a Showbox card as well. So how are they doing that now with this? You know what I'm saying? With everything going on, are you still going to be able to?
They're just starting, I think, and it's not going to be with an audience as far as I know. I think it's just and they're doing testing and.
Oh, and just for the media guys. And,
yeah.
Okay. So that means you're tuning in then.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely be turning into that. Like, I'm really curious what that's going to be like. I'm very curious. Like sports, like there's the crowd drives the sports.
Those events, right?
And in all sports, I would so it's going to be very interesting to see what sports are like without a crowd.
Right.
How are the athletes going to find that extra boost or that extra energy that they get from it? It's gonna be,
take it for granted. You take it for granted because you always play around fans, and now you're gonna be able to hear what's going on the court. You're gonna hear the ball dribble. You're gonna hear certain noises.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Technical fouls everywhere. Like it's gonna be crazy. You got the NBA coming back soon. You have NFL coming back soon.
The WNBA too.
Yeah, coming back soon. Like these sports are gonna, now we're gonna use all these different apps.
Yeah.
Like I said, 9 years changes.
Yeah.
So
hopefully all the sports are gonna be. I mean, who knows what all these.
All the sports. It's just.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But I would say this though. Now, like you said, you saw that Life Anime was on Hulu. How do you deal now with all these different? I mean, at the end of the day, they're all under the same umbrella for the most part. But how do you deal with all these different media? Just mediums, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we try to, it depends on the film, but we try to have like film festivals for audiences and then some kind of a theatrical exhibition in theaters. And, that's usually the hope, unless sometimes you have a film that you feel like goes straight, or you do a series and that's going to go straight to either a streamer or broadcaster. I mean, I think now because the broadcasters also have the online the on-demand platforms, it's all
right.
available in so many different ways. And we work with everybody. That's the thing. Like that's how we deal with it, is we're like friends with everyone. We'll work with PBS, we have Independent Lens, POV, and Frontline, and we Showtime and HBO and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon. We just had something on Amazon. So like it's anybody that you could think of. CNN Films we work with. Where that's how we kind of figure it out, because you can't do that many with one. So if you can spread it out, it works out well.
It works out well, exactly. But who would ever thought that Amazon would have studios?
When you were first like ordering your, like
lamps,
whatever,
mics,
lamp, yeah, exactly.
And right next to it is it's a whole show being shot. You know what I'm saying? Bosch is being shot. So it's. Change is the only constant.
Yeah.
Right. Change is the only constant in the world. So, other than that, Julie, I appreciate your time.
It's such a pleasure to speak to you and meet you. And let's stay in touch.
Please, definitely. So what will happen is once we're finished here, I'm going to edit it down. It will be out tomorrow. I'll share it. Are you a social media person at all?
No, but Motto is. Motto has social media.
That's how we're going to do it. That's how we go.
Marissa, like Sam, they all do that. I am like the worst. I tried to do it, but just didn't work for me.
Understand. No, I mean, I'm kind of the same way, but, for my masses and for what I do, I have to.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm right there with you. But no, definitely, we'll happiness will stay in touch. I actually was connected to you through Steve Pratt of BZA.
Yeah.
So that's how I got through there. But definitely, please, we could definitely keep in touch.
Yeah,
and then,
I'm just like, it's just Juliet Motto Pictures.
That's it. Finally, it's me. Yeah, you know. But we'll definitely keep in touch, Julie. I really appreciate this. And then, other than that, though, enjoy the rest of the night.
You too. Take care. Have a good night.
You as well. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to The Art of the Signs.
You better start listening and stop playing.
We drop every Friday evening on iTunes and SoundCloud, so subscribe.
I don't care who he is, man. I don't care what he does, man.
You can follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Art of Sci Boxing. That's ARTOFSCI Boxing. Also, JA_the realist. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate the listen. Come back to join us or catch us on our social medias.
I love y'all very much. Peace out.